One of the things I find super important is reading. I think we all should read more. Now, a lot of other people will suggest that you should read more nonfiction and self-help books. I, on the other hand, would recommend that you read more for pleasure because that does more for our mind and helping us relax and get through the everyday stressors of life, right? So today we're going to do a book review, my second one, right? We're going to do a book review on Batman Resurrection by John Jackson Miller. It is a sequel to the 1989 Batman film set in between Batman from 1989 and Batman Returns. As a lifelong Batman fan, you know I got a lot to say, so let's get right into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris. On this channel we cover a bunch of topics, but if you enjoy hearing about Batman, one of my favorite topics, I'm a huge lifelong unapologetic Batman fan, or just hearing me give some book reviews, I've done some in the past, then this is the place to be. Please be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe. We're a small channel trying to grow and it helps us out immensely. Every like, every subscribe, every comment, every share helps us out immensely, so I thank you. But let's talk about this book. Okay, so I'm going to try to do my best to separate this review into two separate parts. A non-spoiler review and then a spoiler-filled review in the other half of this video. There'll be a big warning in between both. I think it's kind of important because there's some things that go on in here that I feel I kind of have to address, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's going to pick up this book. You know, I was just looking through some of the information on the back, and John Jackson Miller has written novels for Star Trek and for, let's see, what else? Some Star Wars stories as well. He definitely has a love for the character of Batman, or at least specifically Batman 89. Just in case you don't know, Batman 89 is the movie with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, and it's very heavy, right, into that world. You can definitely feel it. They do mention lots of things that happened in Batman 89. Also some things, if you'll catch on, that happened in Batman Returns, which I think is great. Just for instance, there's a part in the story, and it's like right in the first couple chapters, it's not too spoilery, where Batman uses a prototype of the Super Batarang from Batman Returns. If you don't remember, that's the Batarang where when he's fighting the Red Triangle Gang in Batman Returns, he sees there's 5 or 6 people that he wants to hit with it, and he programs that and throws it, and it's that cool CGI scene. At least it was cool in '92, where it flies around and hits people and gets snatched by the dog in there. If you remember that scene, they show him, you know, or at least show that he's still developing it in this story. And little hints like that are great. You know, they have all the main characters from Batman 89. You've got, obviously, Bruce Wayne and Batman. You've got Alfred, Vicky Vale, Joker to an extent, and you have Commissioner Gordon, you have Harvey Dent, but also too, and you can tell from the, you know, the little information in the beginning of the book, or I should say that in the jacket cover, right here, it has some characters from Batman Returns. It's not a spoiler, Max Shreck. Now, in case you don't remember, Max Shreck was played by Christopher Walken in Batman Returns. He played a villain, the villainous Max Shreck. He owned Shreck department stores and is responsible for creating Catwoman in that story, or movie I should say, and working with the Penguin. Although he, you know, has a falling out with Penguin in that movie. Spoiler alert, I guess, even though that movie came out in '92. But there's also some other characters from Batman that show up, ones that you didn't even really think about until you read the story, and I'll leave that for you to discover in the book if you choose to read it. But lots of subtle little hints in the story to those movies, and that's great. I mean, I think if you know, if you're my age, you grew up watching Batman 89 and Batman Returns, and if you have a love for it like I do, you'll appreciate and pick up on those details, which I think is pretty cool. The one thing I would say that I had a bit of an issue with, and this is a little weird, is the lack of descriptive elements of the characters that had been introduced in the movies. What do I mean by this? I can't for the life of me remember, after reading this, any descriptive elements of what Bruce Wayne is wearing, what Vicky Vale is wearing, Commissioner Gordon, Batman, any of the characters that were in the movies. He solely leaves it up to your imagination to remember what they were wearing in the movies. So if it's a new character that's added in there, and there's a few, okay, they'll get the descriptive elements of like what they're wearing, the kind of clothes, actions, their little movement with glasses and such. But for the rest of the characters that we've seen in the movies, you don't get zilch. The only time that something is descriptive, I would say, is if they add something new. For instance, Batman gets a different kind of costume in this book. And again, not going to spoil it for you, but he at one point has like a more lighter tactical armor, and they describe that in detail. He has some new vehicles. They describe that, or vehicle I should say, they describe that in a little bit of detail. But as far as, you know, when he's wearing his normal costume, they make it a point to say that, but it's not really descriptive in the way you would think. So I'm going to give you a quick summary of what I thought of the story, and this will be the end of the non-spoilery section, okay? I like the story. There is going to be a sequel coming out fall of 2025, which I think is a good idea. I enjoyed this enough that I want to read more. I didn't think it dragged anywhere. I thought the story was interesting. They really did try to flesh out the story of Batman 89 a little bit, which I thought was a great idea, really cool. There was always some, I don't want to call them like plot holes, but stuff that kind of made you think about the original Batman, like some of the things the Joker said in the cathedral fight towards the end, stuff that they clarify or pick up on here that is part of the plot moving forward that Batman investigates, and I think that's a great idea. It was really cool. I will say the ending to that, the summing up of those things was a little weird. We'll cover that in the spoilery section, but if this is the part where you tune out of this video, great story, worth your time. Definitely go pick it up. There'll be a link down in the description. Okay, so if you made it this far, this is the spoilery part of the review, and it's going to start here in a few seconds, so this is ample warning. If you do not want to be spoiled, if you don't want the story spoiled, this is the part to tune out, but I've given you enough warning, so here we go. Just diving into what we just talked about, the little bit of plot holes from Batman that they cover in this story, and how I said it was a little weird. There's a part in the book where Batman has like a near-death experience. He's kind of like drowning, so he's kind of like in between life and death, and he talks to the Joker that way, and Joker kind of answers his questions. A weird way to sum it up and be sure. I thought that was probably one of the weaker parts of the book, to be honest. You know, just having like a near-death experience is a weird way to do it. Now, as far as some other spoilery territory, the two villains in the story. The main villain at first, with the first couple acts of the book, it's broken down into 5 acts, I believe, but the main villain is Clayface. Basil Karlo, classic Batman villain, and I was pleasantly surprised to see him in the book, And, you know, he gets a lot of those descriptive elements that I was talking about earlier that were lacking with other characters. We get to see it with Clayface, like costumes he wears and wigs and stuff, because he can't, like, really transform completely like we're used to Clayface from the animated series or the comic book. But the elements in how he, you know, loses his face, like if he gets upset and his face will just like kind of melt into nothingness, or his features will sag, was great additives to the book. And like I said, he's a new character, so he's one of the only ones that get those descriptive elements. Now, the other villain in the story, who turns out to be like the overall villain, goes by the name of, in the beginning of the book, Hugh Auslander, which, while I was reading it, I was thinking, like you guys know, I'm a huge Batman fan, so part of the problem, I would say, when I watch any kind of new Batman materials, I can usually guess which villain is which, like who it is. Like if they're trying to keep it a mystery, I can usually figure it out pretty quickly. And I did call it on pretty early that Hugh Auslander is really Hugo Strange. Professor Hugo Strange is a Batman villain. He's a lesser known villain. He has made appearances in the animated series before, and definitely in the comics. But he turned out to be the overall big bad. And he was, I wouldn't say he was exactly like his character in the comics, but he was damn near close. And some of a little bit of retconning for Batman 89, the Joker used Smilex in the movie, right? That was the chemical that turned everybody into like imitations of the Joker, except it killed them. And that and he used like different forms of like deodorant and baby powder and hairspray and all that stuff in combination. Like people had to use it as a combination to get those effects. That's how they create Clayface in this book. But they had said in the movie that Jack Napier, who Jack Nicholson, the Joker in the story, was the mastermind behind it in the movie, and they kind of reveal that it's really Hugo Strange, and that he was involved in some of the events of the movie. So it's a little bit of a retcon, but it worked. I thought it was good, and you know, I kind of have a feeling that Hugo Strange and Clayface are going to be reoccurring in the next Batman novel. Now, you know, they kind of went away from that 90s formula of, you know, the villains had to die at the end, but it's fine. I think we may see Hugo Strange a little bit more closer to his comic book interpretation in the next novel. Now, one of my other gripes with this book, other than the non-descriptive elements, would be the introduction of, again, spoiler alert, but you should know this by now if you made it this far in the video, the Riddler. Now, they are treating Batman and Batman Returns differently than Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Now, to me, those four movies were the same. They just had different Batman actors, right? All four movies were in the same, you know, storyline. Well, they're separating them here and giving, you know, making a new Riddler for Michael Keaton's Batman to fight, I would assume, in the next story. So that's one of the only gripes I have about it, is introducing the Riddler in a different way. I think, personally, I think that's a mistake. I mean, there's enough Batman villains that were never touched by the 90s movies to, you know, let them have their day. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm definitely going to be picking up the next book. And I just wanted to mention, since we're in the spoiler territory, there were a lot of other characters that made their appearance in this. One of them was Selena Kyle, actually makes an appearance in this book. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, you know, but before she became Catwoman, obviously, because this is set, again, in between Batman and Batman Returns. So, all in all, to sum up this book, really good, very nostalgic. I enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it too. You know, even from my minor gripes of character descriptions or like what they're wearing, and introducing the Riddler again, or a new Riddler, and separating it from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Even though I know those two movies aren't as loved as Batman and Batman Returns, I still think that this book was really good and, you know, perfect for timing. Books are making a huge resurgence. It feels weird to say that, like, you know, like books are all of a sudden now important again. They've never stopped being important, but you know, I think it's a great time to read this book. It's a great story. It was a lot of fun. I had fun reading it. You know, it brought me back to 8-year-old Chris getting excited for Batman, right? So I'll definitely be picking up the next one. And once again, if you made it this far, thank you. And the book will be listed down in the description for you to pick it up. You will enjoy it. You won't regret it. So if you made it this far, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me through my second book review. If you want to see my other one of my buddy Liana Ramirez's book, The Secrets Within Me, you can see that here. The Secrets Within Me is also another book that is perfect for getting your mind off of stuff and for pleasure reading. She did an amazing job on it. Go check it out. So again, thank you. With that, we will see you next time. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the social media things. Help me fight the YouTube algorithm. Ring the bell. Be sure to check out thewellroundeddude.com. The website is really the hub of everything we do here, and you can find links to our Amazon merch page where I've curated a lot of items that I think you would enjoy and would help you guys out, like this book, like Batman Resurrection, Liana's book, The Secrets Within Me. That's going to be linked in the store, and you know, you can just find a whole bunch of stuff, some offers from some of our partners that I really think you guys would benefit from. So with that being said, we will see you guys next time. Thank you for everything. It's late. I gotta go to bed. So take care. Good night. Peace.